Hello, welcome to Dream Team Scout. This is your boy Tage. This is for players you want to target for game week 4. It's been a long 2 weeks, bro. I could literally smell the Premier League is. I don't know, man. I don't know what life is without fantasy I mean, international football is what it is, but don't really get the buzz from that. I probably say, supporting my team Arsenal, as you can see in the background, and yeah, playing fantasy football. So we're talking the Sun Dream Team, we're talking FPL. So anyway, let's not waste too much time. So this is for game week 4. Players to target. Just bearing in mind that from now on we're gonna see quite a few double game weeks. So if we have a quick look, we've got several teams who have got back-to-back double game weeks in the weeks from game week 4 to game week 6. So we got Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Man United. And then we got certain teams, having two double game weeks back to back. So we got Chelsea doing that game week 4 and in game week 5 and in game week 6 for Chelsea. And we got several teams on one double game week, either in week 4 or week 5. So we've got Brighton, Brentford, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Wolves, Southampton, and Everton. They've got double game weeks on this game week 4 coming up. And the latter, Newcastle, West Ham, Leicester City, I've got a double game weeks on game week 5. So it's quite tricky. Just bear that in mind whilst trying to navigate and build your team and see what works out for you. So without further ado, I'm just going to go into suggested defenders for the next game weeks. First defender on my list is Trent for Liverpool. It's 5.8 million, 8 points. V Man United last game week. It's got a total of 27 points, which is good. And the fixtures coming up. You've got Forest and Milan this game week 4, which I think Liverpool should keep a clean sheet. They've yet to concede, and then they've got game week 5. You've got Bournemouth and West Ham, and then you've got Wolves and Bologna. These are very good games. These are teams that we expect Liverpool to beat. Rest assured. Keeping a clean sheet might prove just a tad bit tricky, but they should keep a clean sheet on this one. So with Trent, I've said a good set of fixtures coming up with Liverpool yet to concede. It's highly likely. The only thing with Trent, he might face rotation as he's yet to finish 90 minutes on the slot. And then if you want to go for a cheaper alternative, we've got Robinson on 24 points. So it's just 3 behind Trent. He's got 7 points against Man United this game, previous game week. And yeah, if you're going for him, you're spending 1 million less, and you could use that 1 million to build, your team. So I would say both him and Trent are long-term picks. Then if you go for a much cheaper defender to look elsewhere, is we're looking at Aston Villa. We know Konsa got injured whilst playing for England. I'm not too sure what that injury is all about. But if we want to look at Digne, he's 3.1. He's got a total of 18 points. So remember, Trent is worth 5.8 and he's got 27. Digne has just got 9 points behind that. Villa have got Everton and Young Boys this game week 4, and then game week 5 they've got Wolves and Wickham, and then in game week 6 they've got Ipswich and Bayern Munich. So it's feasible they could keep a clean sheet against Everton, and in game week 6 against Ipswich and against Wolves. Might not see them keeping a clean sheet in the Champions League games, or Digne might not play in the League Cup game. But like I said, is a cheap alternative, and does chip in with the odd assist. And although Villa have yet to keep a CS this season, so that is something that once again you want to think about. That comes with the territory of getting a cheap player, but the probability of keeping a clean sheet might be a bit more difficult. But I would say Digne is one I'm considering myself. And then if we're looking elsewhere, we've got Mazraoui of Man United is 3.9. They considered 3 against Liverpool, but he still came in with 5 points against Liverpool that game week. He's got a total of 19 points, which is good. And then you look at Man United's game week 4 fixtures, Southampton and Barnsley. Probably see United keeping a clean sheet against Southampton. Not too sure if Mazraoui will play that Barnsley game, but if he does, because I'm sure Ten Hag will be taking that seriously. And then for game week 5, they got Crystal Palace and Twente as well. They got Twente at home. and Crystal Palace away. Possibly could keep a clean sheet. Palace don't score too many goals. And then I know game week 6 might be difficult with regards to playing Tottenham and Porto home and away. So I said if you are bringing in this player in mind, you have to so good fixtures coming up with targeted games against Southampton and Barnsley, maybe Crystal Palace. So if you are bringing in this player, I would say it's a short-term pick, maybe something to get the player that you want, and then maybe you could get a price rise from him. Um, but yeah, and you could make your team a bit better. And then if you're looking totally left, we're looking at the guy at Brighton in Sherwood. I'm not too sure how you pronounce his name. He's got a total of 13 points, not the best. It's 2.2, 4 points against Arsenal last game week. And Brighton have got double game week this week, so Ipswich and Wolves at home, and they got Forest and Chelsea in the other game weeks. And like I've said for him, I've said seems to have made the left back spot his own with 3 consecutive starts in the season in the Premier League. Although Brighton have yet to keep a CS in the Premier League, when they did in the Carabao Cup, he was rested. So he's an enabler. So I probably fancy him keeping a clean sheet, maybe against Ipswich, maybe not against Wolves, or he might not play. But it's 2.2. Any points you sort of get from this player, you sort of take that in the chin, and he's made that spot his own. So I don't know, but this is just you just thinking far left if you want to. Or we got Munoz at Crystal Palace, quite a favourable one in the Dream Team leagues. He's got a total of 18 points. It's 3.1 million. Once again, bearing in mind, he's like 9 points behind Trent. He's one of the best defenders in the Dream Team this season. Crystal Palace got a double game week this week, so they got Leicester at home and QPR away. So possibly they could keep a clean sheet one of those 2 out of those games. And we know with Glasner, the manager, he's taking the cup competition seriously. We know what he did with playing the full strength side against, I think, Norwich in the last round of the Carabao Cup, and I think they won 4-0. So it might replicate the same formula here. So literally just is a short-term pick if you are trying to get him in. And yeah, that is just where my head is at with regards to the defenders to target this week. There's a small pool of players, but once again, at the start of the show, I did tell you, think about the double game weeks, how you're planning your teams. Some teams got double game weeks this week. Some teams got double game week next week. So yeah, just how you formulate your team. Or if you really want to maximize your chances, then you probably want to pick players from Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Man United. And we know if we're looking at the fixtures alone, just from a fixtures perspective against the team, then you probably might want to pick from Liverpool and Aston Villa. Man City a little bit, but yeah, those would be the 2 if you also are targeting defenders. And then I've also got some differentials on here, so you could also look into Konate at 4.2. I did mention Konsa earlier on, but he's got that injury we're not too sure about. He's got a total of 8 points, not the best. Villa have not been the best, but I expect them to kick on now. It's an Emery side. They take European competition serious, so probably should drill that into the team. And then we've got Dallo and Man United at 4.3. A bit steep, but listen, it's just you sort of thinking outside the box, and not if you're trying to get ahead of the curve and trying to be totally different, or if you want to go with the pack. It is what it is. There's no right. I mean, there is right or wrong, but we ain't got the answers. Once again, one of my favorite lines. We ain't got the answers. So if we're going into midfield, suggested midfielders for this game week, first on my list is KDB. Made 6.6 million. He scored 7 points via West Ham in the last game week. He scored a total of 25 points. Not bad. And you look at the fixtures coming up for City this game week. They've got Brentford and Inter Milan both at home, so I expect City to win. And if City are going to win, it should be instrumental in that. And then game week 5 might be the dodgy one where they're playing Arsenal. That's no easy game. And then they got Watford in the Carabao Cup, which I don't think he's going to play. And then obviously game week 6 they got Newcastle and Slovan Bratislava, which he should come back into the side. So I thought him under as a long-term pick, but just be ready to take the hit with regards to game week 5. But it's 6.6 million. If you want to get KDB, this is probably the right time to get him, because if he does well again, his money's going to probably rise to 6.7, and we know every little helps like Tesco. So yeah, you might want to do that. So, like what I've said for him, I said reach vein of form with a combined 23 points from the last 2 games, which is amazing. And then I don't want to repeat myself, although game week 5 might prove tricky, but a good game week 4 would see his price, rise up. So, yeah, that is that on KDB. And then with Luis Diaz, the man on form, I think everybody should be gearing towards bringing a Luis Diaz. So that is definitely, I could tell you for free, Luis Diaz is definitely coming into my team. It's just 90%. I mean, what the guy is doing right now is just crazy. He's got a total of 35 points. He's 4.7 million. So it's about, about 1.9 million cheaper than KDB. You got Liverpool's fixtures. They got, I've run that through with Arnold and Robinson. So you know the fixtures: Forest, Milan, Bournemouth, West Ham, Wolves, Bologna. This guy's in scintillating form, good run of fixtures. It's currently a must-have long term. Bang. I don't need to say no more on him. 16 points v Man United. That's just wild. And then if you probably strap for cash and you've got a different strategy in mind, you could play the hand of a Mitoma. It's 3.9 million. I know it's got 3 points against Arsenal this last game week. It's got a total of 22 points, which ain't bad. And like I did say with Brian, they've got a double game weekend this week for Ipswich and Wolves. I don't think he starts against Wolves, but then he might be on the bench because it's a Premier League side opposition, so they might want to take that seriously as opposed to playing a weakened team. So like I've said, a home game to Ipswich is exciting, although might be rested against Wolves, but considering they are a Premier League opposition, it might be on the bench to come on. So preferably only for this game weekend. So yeah, it's a short-term pick. You never know. Depends on how you sort of looking on that. But that's 3.9. I think that is something that you could also consider. And then a much cheaper alternative could be Onana or Aston Villa, 2.5 million. Wow. It's got 8 points against Leicester. It's got a total of 22 points, which ain't bad. Which ain't bad for a defensive midfielder, which is not bad at all. I've ran through the Villa fixtures before, so let me not repeat myself. But he's got 2 games in 3 games. He's got 2 goals in 3 games. Not bad. It's popping up often. It's popping up often in the box. He's got 2 goals in 3 games, and seems to have a knack for goals at the moment. And favourable fixtures coming up. A cheap route into Europe, an enabler. 2.5 million. It sounds right nice. It sounds like a better alternative than the Rodgers that we sort of said he's passed the eye test. Which I don't know, man. I don't know. Rodgers, the jury is still out for him. So yeah, that is that. Other short-term picks, you could have Bruno Fernandes, 5.8 million. He's got a total of 13 points, and considering his status, that's way too low for that price. But we know United fixtures already. But with Bruno Fernandes, he scored and assisted, on recent international duty, and maybe he's found a bit of form. So I expect him to start all games apart from Barnsley. It's worth looking at short term. Could have good returns against Southampton. Could have good returns against Crystal Palace, and then Antoine. And yeah, it's a short term guy for now. I would say with Bruno Fernandes. And then also another guy that we shouldn't, let the Diaz, form blind us. It would be Eze. He's 4.6 million. He scored 10 points against Chelsea in game week 3. He scored a total of 34 points. He's on fire. Palace fixtures in game week 4, they've got Leicester and QPR, so double game week. We spoke about with Munoz, and like I said, 2 favourable fixtures against lesser oppositions, and we know Palace are taking the cup competition seriously. So, with Eze, I've gone on to say as well, capable of 10 points plus return in a single game. Last 2 games, 24 points alone. So in the last 2 games, my guys banked 24 points. So Eze is definitely in within a shout. So say for example you had a midfield, you could bring in Diaz and Eze, one short term, one long term, if you could afford both, or you could mix and match it with Diaz and Mitoma, or Eze, or Diaz and Onana, like just 2. Or I don't know, but these are the sort of players that I believe will perform and will get the points this game week in midfield. A differential might be Rodgers. He's got 3 points against Leicester City, total 11 points. Once again, I followed the hype of Rodgers. and I'm not really feeling that. I'm not really feeling that, you know, like I've got two midfielders now in Rodgers and Smith Rowe that are around those price regions, and they're just not doing it for me at this very point in time. So one has to be careful with regards to these players. And then if we're looking at strikers, um, I've gone for the first one would be Havertz. For Arsenal, it's 4.6 million, 11 points the last game week against Brighton, total of 24 points, which ain't bad. But you look at the Arsenal fixtures. Game week 4, Tottenham, Atlanta. Game week 5, Man City, Bolton. And game week 6, Leicester, PSG. I mean, Arsenal got a few injuries now with the Odegaard news and Calafiori, and you know, no Rice, no Marino. Quite a few injuries in the squad now. So yeah, with Havertz, I probably say it's a short-term pick, you know, but he has done 10 points plus returns in two out of three games, so he's capable of getting those getting good points in one game. So I'll probably say short-term, maybe for game week 4 against Tottenham and Atlanta. Game week 5, we got, you know, Jota for Liverpool. He's got a total of 18 points. We know what Pool's fixtures are. He's Liverpool's first choice forward. But the only issue with him is that, you know, he faces the risk of being subbed every 70 minutes or so, you know, just to put Nunes in and Gakpo. But I would say he's a long-term pick if you are going to bring him in. He's definitely Liverpool's first choice forward. Or we could look at Watkins of Villa. It's 5.6 million, 7 points against Leicester. Where he got that, you know, is it a fluky assist or jammy assist or whatever you want to call it. He didn't know nothing about that assist. He's got a total of 12 points, which is awful. Should see his value decrease some more, but they've got some good fixtures, and I've been saying this all season for Watkins. He should wake up now, because the thing with Watkins, when he does wake up, he wakes up with like a double and he gets crazy points, and then you sort of missed out on that patch. But you know, like I said, form hasn't been great, so approach with caution. Definitely approach this transfer with caution, but assist in the last game week, a well-rested 2 weeks could be the kickstart towards that's needed. So I'll probably say if you are going to bring him in at 5.6 million with the fixtures coming on, put him there for the long haul, because he would wake up, and then you don't want to miss out on, you know, bringing him in, taking a hit with regards to price value, and then taking him out, and then he does something. So yeah, that would be my take on Ollie Watkins. And then I don't need to talk about the other guys, Salah, Haaland. If you don't have these guys, I don't know, you're wild. You know, Salah's returned over 10 points every game this this season, and must have definitely with the current set of fixtures. And then Haaland, what can I say? Back-to-back hat-tricks in both games. Enough said. That's a long-term sort of pick. If we're looking at differentials, probably as Zirkzee or Pedro. Man United and Brighton respectively, but those would be short-term picks. Like I said, against for Man United, Southampton and Barnsley, he might probably play both just to boost his confidence, and he might score a goal or two. And Pedro might also do the same. So that is something worth thinking about. So hopefully I could help you. And then for my captain this game week, I'm leaning towards I'll be honest, I'm leaning towards Haaland against Brentford, because it's back-to-back hat-tricks, man. He could do another one. Salah is also a good shout, but my pecking order: Haaland, Salah, Diaz, and those would be my top 3 picks. And then if we're going for a fourth one, I'll probably say Eze, and then fifth will be Ollie Watkins. I know he still gets in there every week. Those would be my captain choices for this game week. And then looking at my team on the left hand side of the screen, I'm considering taking out. This team's a tough one. When I look at it, sometimes I'm like, what am I gonna do? Doku has been okay, but if I take in Doku, consider taking out Doku for Diaz and in my team, and I would have 1 million to spare, and then I have 3.8. So I might have I might do a Diaz to bring in Onana and save some funds, and then obviously get Onana's price increase. Or another thing I was leaning to, because Palmer, the Palmer conundrum, he might play Bournemouth, he might play West Ham. I don't know if Palmer now is a certainty. I don't know. Because I don't think he's going to play the League Cup. He ain't going to play the Europa League Conference. So I was thinking maybe I could do. Do a Diaz? If I swap Doku for Diaz, then maybe I could do a Smith Rowe for Madueke at 3.3 million, and I still have 5 million in the bank. That's one way to look at it. Or I was thinking, do a straight swap for Palmer for. Let me just play around with this quickly. A Palmer for. I could do a Palmer for KDB, and then I could do 4.1 million. I could do a Madueke, or I could leave Smith Rowe in there, and then move towards my defense, maybe towards Hull, and change and look towards the Liverpool defender. Let me see, I could bring in Liverpool 4 point. I could lean towards, say, bringing a Konate 4.2. I don't know. So right now, I just sort of playing with it. But I would say definitely Diaz is coming into my team. And then I'm either deciding between either switching to a 4-3-3, maybe to get Jota in there, or keeping it the way it is, but bringing in Diaz and changing one of my defenders towards a European defender. So I'm not too sure. But it is what it is. These are good problems to have. So it makes fantasy exciting. And it is what it is. Dream Team Scout, over and out.